Hi, my name is Janasia Johnson. I am a senior, and today I will be going over my skills presentation for overhand throwing. Overhand throwing is a skill that is important because it's used in most all sports. It is important because in softball, which I play, it provides you with a more accurate throw. As far as throwing underhand, it would get the ball faster if you throw overhand because it is more natural to the body. It's used in football, softball, baseball, soccer, basketball, tennis, and lacrosse, etc. When should this skill be introduced? Mainly when you're around 12 months, you typically start picking up objects and kind of throwing them. It's more of an experimental thing when you're young, but by 14 months, you're usually doing it naturally. The critical elements for overhand throwing are: you're in a ready position, your eyes are on the target, your knees are bent, and your feet are shoulder width apart with the object in front of your body. You can turn your arm to the back. Your side is to the target, and your throwing arm is extended back. You will step, and rotate and throw all at the same time. It's like a full one motion. You would step forward with the opposite foot. Your hip and shoulder should turn to the target, and your hand points in the direction that you're throwing in. So in softball, we call this our T stance. So your body should look like almost like a T, and your arms should be straight, and you should be able to throw over the top, rotating your arm, your body, and everything. Everything should end up in the front of you. Basically, in a follow through towards your target across the body. For the coaching cues of overhand throwing, you should be facing the target. Your feet should be shoulder width apart. Your knees should be bent. Your eyes are on the target. The object is held out in front of the body, and in the preferred hand. Your side target, the body should turn as the feet pivot in place, and the side opposite the throwing arm is toward the target. Bring the throwing arm back in a downward circular motion with the throwing hand extended away from the body towards the direction of travel. The elbow is always higher than the shoulder, slightly above. For action with the elbow loading, you step with the foot that is opposite of the throwing arm. So like so. So if my throwing arm is my right arm, I'm gonna, of course, step with my left foot. You rotate your hips and your shoulders. Rotate towards the target. The feet also pivot. And the arm comes forward past the hand. So you follow through, throwing, using your throwing hand, continues towards the target and continues down. So we always want to end with our arm. We always call it, in softball, we call it hand to hip or hand to pocket. Making sure you always finish your throw. You never want to stop mid-air, because majority of the time your ball is going to curve out because it doesn't have enough momentum behind it. Your troubleshooting for overhand throwing is, if you're teaching somebody and their eyes are not on their target, you can try this. You can have the student or a person that you're teaching throw at a target he has designed for. Attach colored targets to the wall. Place a 2-liter bottle upside down on top of a tall cone and have the student try to knock it off. As an outside activity, have the student throw wet sponges at a target in an effort to soak the target with water. Use aluminum plates for targets. If the student or person you're teaching, or yourself, does not have enough arm extension, you can encourage the student to use stronger force when throwing the object. Have the student touch a wall located behind him or her while extending her arm, and then have her throw the object. With the partner standing behind him or her, the thrower swings his arm back and tries to take an object out of his partner's hand. Normally, we do this in softball to make sure that we're following through, so it's like a quick release. To get the muscles built up in our arms to make our arms a lot stronger when we're throwing. Because we have weak arms in softball. I mean, our balls are not gonna go very far. If you're having an issue with your hand or the throwing arm not going past the ear, have the student use the rocket launcher activity and the step rotate throw station. Hang a yarn ball from a basketball goal so the ball is at ear height. Put the student in the turn position and have her hit the ball with an open palm. If your student is not stepping with the opposite foot, tie a penny or scarf around the foot opposite the throwing arm. Use the floor to spot or footprints on the floor to indicate the proper foot placement. Tape bubble wrap to the floor. Have the student step in position on that spot to create a noise. Typically, we use a band to implicate this activity. If your student or person you're teaching is having limited hip and shoulder rotation, have the student check the position of his belt buckle after throwing. The belt buckle should be pointing at the direction of the target. Have a partner stand behind the thrower. The partner holds rubber tying stretching band to add resistance while the thrower has or goes through rotation motions. If your student is not following through, place a tall cone on the front and the non-throwing side of the thrower's body. The cone should be far enough away that the student can step and extend the arm on the throw. The student throws the ball and then touches the top of the cone on the follow-through. Have the student pretend to fasten a seatbelt by crossing the arms across the body while bending forward. So a drill that I will be performing is called Spot On, and the object of this drill is to complete an overhand throw to your partner that is standing on poly spots. And as we complete that and my partner catches the ball or object that I'm using to throw, I get to collect those spots. And eventually, if you're playing with a group of people, it's usually 2 people per group, and the person who collects all the spots wins. So the equipment used in this drill or activity are cones or balls, hula hoops, colorful poly spots. You can really get creative with this.